Hello, listeners. I'm Timstradamus, and I'm here today with my talented co-hostess, Voyse.
Good morning, Timstradamus, and welcome to all listeners to our little nook in the corner.
I like that. Voyse and I enjoy reading and talking about stories from the internet that are interesting, funny, and dramatic. Because of our love of stories, we've come together to create this channel to share with you those experiences.
And hopefully give you some food for that.
Well, let's get right into the stories while I enjoy my morning cup of brew.
Oh, what brew are you enjoying this morning?
I'm going with a black hibiscus tea. What is it?
Blackberry.
Blackberry?
Yes,
No, it's black raspberry hibiscus
it's
tea.
blackberry raspberry hibiscus tea.
Blackberry raspberry?
Yes.
I'm drinking a blackberry hibiscus tea.
Perfect antioxidants. Well, let's go ahead and see what healthy stories we encounter now then. For any listeners wanting to follow along, all story links are in the description below. Am I the for telling my friend to leave her inferiority complex out of this?
Alright.
I, 18 female, ended up going to a smaller college and made some college friends. Honestly, I never cared about someone's socioeconomic status that much my whole life, possibly because my entire life I was with peers about the same class, since that's all you get in my neighborhood. But one of my friends from the same hall, Amy, is different. She isn't as well off. I think she mentioned her family makes around 36K total. But frankly, I couldn't care less about how much money you have if we're just friends. Overall, she's pretty cool, but she keeps making backhanded comments about my wealth and how I get takeout, go out to eat once a week. Like, that's even her business? I remember once offhandedly mentioning that people from my high school used to drive to school in Porsches in order to show off, but nobody cared since everyone had one. Well, apparently she wasn't okay with that and gave some snide comment about rich people. Also, one time I went to buy groceries with her and she told me that I should pay for it because I'm rich, when I told her that we should split the cost of eggs. WTF. Well, here comes the am I the part. So, a mutual friend, Pam, of ours wanted to go to Tiffany, the jewelry store, to buy a gift for a relative. Pam wanted us to come along, and we both agreed to go. On the day of, we take the bus there, and at the entrance of the store, Amy suddenly says that she'll be going to grab boba down at KFT, down a couple blocks, and meet us back up here. Pam and I feel a bit confused since she never said she was going separately from us, but we said okay and that we might take longer than her. So she leaves, and around 10 to 15 minutes later, while Pam and I are still browsing / talking to the clerk, she sends us a text that she's standing in front of the store. It's snowing outside, so I told her that she should come in and meet us, but she refused. After maybe 5 minutes, Pam is still picking and choosing, so I pop out of the store and tell Amy that Pam might take a lot longer, so she should just come inside and at least get out of the snow. Nope. Apparently, poor people aren't even able to enter luxury stores because of the who knows what. We're not even telling her to buy anything, and it's not like the store would kick her out for just looking. I really couldn't understand her logic and told her that. I don't understand your inferiority complex, and that you'd rather stand out in the snow because you think that just walking into a luxury store means that people will automatically know and judge you for being poor? Because you don't walk in and purchase something? Get over yourself. Plenty of people just browse and leave. Anyway, she obviously didn't take kindly to that and called me a privileged and that maybe I should just get a sugar daddy to maintain my current lifestyle. Question mark, question mark. I told her that I don't need no sugar daddy because my parents have enough for 3 lifetimes. Am I the ass?
Alright. Well, I'm pretty sure I get this story, so I don't need the clarification on it. I feel, though, that. I'm going to say this. I feel my first jerk reaction is that she's definitely the ass. And I'm only going to say this because being a poor kid growing up, the first time I walked into any store that I thought was, or I perceived that was better than me, I immediately was uncomfortable. I didn't want to be there. you couldn't talk me into staying in there. So I get the Amy's perspective because I was on that side. It takes a little bit to get used to feeling like you belong in places where you thought people believed you didn't belong, right? Because there's your perception and then there's everyone else's.
Well, there was a comment that the OP put in the comment section that I think gave me a little bit more understanding. So let me go ahead and read that to you before you make your final judgment.
Oh no.
It says, I absolutely am privileged and would love to help someone if they need it. But someone telling me that I should pay for them just because I have the means with a smirk pushes all the wrong buttons.
Sure.
I do wish she had higher self-esteem, since it reflects in more ways than just money when we interact. But what I really find strange is that she also owns a Tiffany necklace that she wears frequently, so I don't understand why she wasn't willing to come in. Like, I really think she's a lot more well off than she makes herself out to be. Has a car for herself, multiple pieces of jewelry, a pretty nice mid to high end luxury bag, and is also going to our college with no debt and not a full scholarship. Heck, she has more clothes in her closet than me. She sends me so many mixed signals I don't understand.
That is really weird. See, you should have told me that before.
No, it's more fun this way.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. Maybe the OP is right about how she should definitely have some more self-esteem. You don't have your own car. You don't go debt-free without a scholarship or half a scholarship.
Not without a scholarship.
See? So some things aren't adding up to the story.
Correct.
That's really weird. Like, especially if she's that uncomfortable. I don't know. Maybe they just recently walked into the money.
Potentially.
And maybe she still has that poor kid mentality.
So what's your verdict?
Knowing all the new facts. I think, now that I've learned this, I think they're both kind of wrong.
Reddit also agrees. They say everyone sucks here.
Yes!
So part of Reddit says she is kind of the ass because she could have just told her that she could go home. She didn't have to go ahead and point out her inferiority complex. And then the other half says that she's not wrong and that if Amy was going to be that way to begin with, she should just not have come in at all. They knew they were going to Tiffany, which was an expensive store anyway. And if you're going there as friends to help a friend look for something, you shouldn't make it about you at that point. Other people just think she shouldn't be friends with her if she's that toxic. She's always going to bring what she doesn't have to the table by pointing out that she's got more. It just sounds like Amy's potentially not a good friend. Either she's lying about something or she really is struggling and then she's taking out that struggle on her as being a toxic friend. So how's that for an intro?
Yeah, that trickiness. I like it.
So let's go from one drama from Friends to another.
Okay.
Am I the ass for asking my friend for payment for services rendered? I, 21 male, have a friend, 19 female, who is a nanny for a family with kids in elementary and middle school. My friend is a great girl, but not particularly book smart and needed some help explaining the middle schooler's math homework to him. She texted me to ask for help because I'm a math tutor to make extra money while I'm in college. I FaceTimed her so I could make sure the kid understood that what I was explaining, which took a while. She thanked me later, and I let her know that I would typically charge for that service, which she said would equate to 2 of her working hours. So I said half would be fair. She said she wouldn't have asked for help if she'd known I would charge, which I think is unfair. I don't expect friends to provide services for free. Why should she? Am I the
Okay, so this one's a really easy one. No clarification needed on this. He's definitely the asshole, and the reason why is because never, ever expect something from someone that you haven't already talked about. Set the expectation. If they're never do this. This is definitely, it sounds like a young person. Obviously, you said they're like 20 and 19 or
Yeah,
something
he's
like that.
21 and she's 19.
He's going to learn a lot of hard lessons if he just assumes things about people, especially when it comes to money. Before you do anything for anyone, regardless of family or friends or some stranger, you talk about the expectation of money first. That's how life works. You're going to learn some hard lessons. That's one of them. You're definitely the for expecting her at 19 to be like, oh yeah, because she's looking at you as just a friend. At
Correct.
This point.
Just asking
You're,
for help.
You're not a tutor. You're her friend. Obviously, up until that point, now she's going to learn a lesson too, right? You should always expect that you should be paying for someone regardless of what they're doing for you. You should expect that they may want to have return for their service compensation, right? So they're both going to learn these lessons, but he's in the wrong for expecting it without voicing those concerns.
And all of Reddit agrees.
Yeah.
They said he didn't make the proper expectations. Aside from, it really irked a lot of Redditors wrong that he said she was not particularly book smart.
Yeah, he already starts it off with just dunking on her.
Well,
That was an easy one.
let's keep going from one friend drama to another, shall we?
Yeah.
Our next story. Am I the asshole for stealing, quote unquote, art? I, 26 female, got into art at the start of 2020 after getting Procreate. By the way, Procreate is a program to help artists learn how to draw.
Cool.
Figured I'd clarify that for listeners. I always had a vague interest in art, but never had any training or even really took classes, so it seemed insurmountable to begin. However, I watched lots of YouTube videos and read tons of tips online and spent most of the first 2 years working on basic things such as hands, feet, anatomy, clothes, hair, etc. After I finally felt like I had really gotten a grasp on the basics, I started getting into the idea of developing my own style. I didn't really know the best way to do this, so I just started tracing other artists' work to get practice with things like line weight and flow. I would take a picture of an artist who had a really nice style and would download the image, copy the line art, and then normally color it however I felt. It would then get thrown into a folder in Procreate labeled Trace Practice. I have never shared these works online, among friends, or for profit. They purely exist for me and only for me to practice.
Okay.
So last week, I had my friend Kat, 27 female, over, and while we were just hanging out and talking, I was practicing some anatomy. This consisted of the way Kat was sitting or standing. She knew I was practicing while we were talking and asked if she could look at it once I was finished. So I had just wrapped up my sketch and asked her if she wanted to look. She took my iPad and I went to the restroom. When I came back, she was taking a picture of my iPad, so I asked her what was going on. She asked why I had copied artists' pictures. I explained to her exactly what I said above, but she was not happy with this answer. She started calling me a thief and a talentless hack. After some back and forth, she said she was leaving. I didn't hear anything about the situation for a few days when my other friend Danielle texted me saying she put me on blast. She showed me the texts from her to our other friends. They basically showed the original artist's work, my copy, and some text explaining how I tried to defend stealing the image. She was so mad about it, she even reached out to the original artist and gave her my name and socials. I thanked Danielle for telling me and decided to text Kat. She told me that if I stop doing art, she will stop talking about it. Now, a few of my friends are on her side and think I am an asshole for what I did, but a few are also on my side. I'm torn because I really didn't think it was a big deal since I wasn't claiming they were my pieces of art. Am I the
All right. I don't need any clarification on this. The OP, definitely not the and the reasoning is because this person went to the bathroom, gave them their iPad
Correct.
for them to solely look at the whatever drawing or sketch that they had done for the person, right?
Correct.
Okay. They did not allow them, or did they give them permission to look through the rest of their catalog, their photos, whatever have you, files, right?
Their art, yes.
So for Kat to have rifled through pictures, what have you, without the sole permission of the person that it belonged to, was already in the wrong. So you're starting it off with that, is she's dug through someone else's stuff, regardless of what it was on there. It doesn't matter. But you went through their information, took a bunch of pictures that you didn't know what they were doing with it, right? The OP already says they did it for learning purposes.
Correct.
It had nothing to do with stealing. They weren't publishing it for any gain, right?
Nope.
Okay. Then this one's a really easy one. The Cat was very much the here, and I'm sorry for the OP having to go through something as ridiculous as this, having to explain why you took a photo off the internet to learn from. There's been plenty of people who have traced, right? You got to crawl before you can walk. So for this just makes zero sense to me, and it actually makes me upset for the person. So yes, you are definitely not the OP. Kat needs to get her head out of her ass. And unfortunately, the way life works is perception is reality. So you're probably going to have to walk around with that for a long time. But just keep drawing. You'll get better. Stop listening to people. And yes, if you need to keep tracing to get better, keep tracing to get better. You owe no one anything, especially an explanation for something that you're doing for yourself. So, yeah.
Well, Reddit also agrees. The poster is not the In fact, there's a comment on here that I wanted to read out loud, which says, the poster is not the I am an artist. I 100% learned by tracing and copying illustrations and images I liked. I would even pause the TV on scenes I enjoyed and copy those. It's part of the process for many, many artists, and there's nothing wrong with it. You aren't sharing the images. You aren't claiming the original work as yours. You aren't making a profit from it. You're fine. Your friend is overreacting. Other comments that I think really put this into a different perspective is, would she consider copyright if somebody sang a song? Because essentially, what about all the cover bands that take music from other bands and
or
just
all of TikTok or
correct.
Anyone that lip syncs to a song they like.
All that she was doing was just learning, and
Yep.
she shouldn't be hurt. She shouldn't be hated, especially for Kat to come back and said that she would stop doing what she's doing as long as she stopped drawing.
Ridiculous. How dare
That's
you,
crazy.
How dare you hold someone hostage for your weird perceptions?
Poster, keep on drawing. You got this. So we go from some friend drama. Let's kind of bring it back to the family. Am I the asshole for ruining my sister's one chance to eat at a restaurant?
Okay, let's hear about this.
This happened on a cruise that we recently got back from. My husband, sister, and sister's husband and I went on a cruise together with our kids. As you may know, food is typically included on cruise fare. What you eat on the boat is free. What you eat in port isn't. Anyway, my sister saw a local restaurant and really wanted to try the local cuisine. I thought that was a waste of money, but I understand why she wanted to go, because it's the cuisine of a foreign country she might never return to. I said I would take my kids to a nearby attraction while they ate, and they would meet me there afterwards because I wasn't hungry. I would just like to note in the comments, all the kids in this are like under 10.
Oh, okay.
My sister's kids also wanted to go to the local attraction as opposed to the restaurant. I thought this was a good idea because it would allow the other adults to enjoy their meal more. So I said I would take them as well. My sister's husband said he felt weird about me having all 4 kids alone while in a foreign country, so he would also go with me. My sister said, just forget it, after he said that. I told her to enjoy the restaurant. There would be no rush, and we would just chill at the local attraction. She said she didn't want to eat out alone. My husband said he would eat with her, but she just glared at him. The little tiff blew over for the most part. But we did end up arguing about it on the last date on the boat, where she said it was pretty petty and childish for me to ruin her chance to enjoy the restaurant she'd probably never get the chance to eat at again. I told her no one ruined her chance and she could have gone. She said obviously she wouldn't want to experience it with just my husband. I asked what she wanted me to have done, and she said if I was just going to be an ass about it, we wouldn't talk about it. So, was I being an asshole about it?
A little bit of clarification.
All right.
So the OP didn't want to go to the restaurant because she wasn't hungry.
Yeah,
She was going to take the 4 kids and they were going to go to some attraction.
correct.
So the
It would have
brother-in-law
Mm-hmm.
didn't want her to be alone with the kids
Correct.
in
a
the foreign country. So he wanted to go with the OP to this attraction with the kids, while his wife wanted to go clearly eat at a restaurant that she apparently really wanted to go to, right? So
Yeah.
instead of them taking the opportunity to have their kids be basically babysat, he wanted to go spend time with the kids and the OP.
Correct.
Okay, do you see where I'm kind of going on this
Oh,
one?
no, I see it.
Okay.
A
So,
lot of other people see it
okay,
too.
so that's good. I'm happy I'm not the only one. It sounds fishy as because if something's important to your wife, okay, you don't then go, you know what? I want to go spend time with my sister-in-law while she watches the kids while my wife goes to the nice restaurant that she wants to go to.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm drawing the lines and I'm hoping everyone else is sniffing what I'm putting down.
Probably.
Okay.
If not, then, it doesn't matter.
So it's a rough one because I guess this stop and ends with she's definitely OP is not the asshole here. Not in this situation. The asshole is the woman's husband for making it a weird situation.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you know, Reddit also agrees.
Okay.
And a lot of people are like, well, why didn't you just have your husband come with you and the brother-in-law could go with your sister to the nice restaurant? Apparently, it never, from what the poster said, it never came up. It never got that far. The moment that the brother-in-law was like, let's go to this attraction. I don't want the kids to be alone. Like with a woman, you're going to be a lone woman with 4 kids here.
I'm sure that was what it was about.
Yeah.
I'm sure he couldn't get, hey, my bro, because this would be his brother, right?
Correct.
My brother, I want to go eat at this restaurant with my wife. She really cares about this. How about you guys go and watch the kids? No, it had to be about, I need to, it's weird.
It's just weird. Apparently, the poster's husband is very go with the flow. So he would have done it either way. He would have been fine going with the kids. He would have been fine going with the sister. It feels, and everybody has been saying,
we need more details about brother-in-law.
The brother-in-law is
sketch.
Is a bit of the asshole here. He should have been the one to be like, hey, can you guys watch the kids? I know there was a nice thing that they said, hey, where the OP and her husband could have watched the kids, and then maybe on a next time they could have vice versa it.
Sure.
Yep. But she said for the next time that they will remember that maybe that will stem over a lot of these problems.
Maybe we all need to talk to brother-in-law and figure out what he's got going on.
It's a bit something. It was a little confusing because I was like, that's really weird. I don't know why.
Especially when, that's okay. Oh no, stepbrother-in-law, I'm stuck.
So on to our next story. Am I the ass for refusing to pick up my coworker? I, 30 male, drive to work, which is located in a somewhat rural area with no public transport. Everyone else at work drives too. Recently, my coworker in my department, he's a 30-plus male, told me his car broke down and he asked me a favor to pick him up for work. The thing is, he lives in a different town from me, which means I will have to detour and add another 30 minutes to my commute. He doesn't want to get Uber as it will be costly. I told him to get a bus from his town to mine and I will pick him up from the station on the way to work. It will only add an extra 5 minutes to my commute. He refused, as he will have to get ready very early. The bus trip will take about 20 minutes. So I said, no, I can't pick him up, and he got mad and called me an asshole. I do really feel bad because Uber will be expensive, but I don't feel like waking up early and adding to my commute just to drive him. We do work closely as a team, though, so I'm afraid this will make me look petty. Am I the
Well, it will start some stuff for sure. Your partner or your friend in this situation will definitely be upset with you. Whether you're an is a completely different story. So don't need any clarification on this story. My verdict: the OP is not the asshole. In fact, they tried to make it work. Right at the beginning, is like take the bus. It's a 20-minute bus ride for you to get here, and it only adds 5 minutes onto my commute. If anyone is offering to give you a ride that is out of their way, it adds 30 minutes to go pick him up.
Oh,
so
yes.
in this case, the OP would have to go out of his way to make sure that he got up at least 30 minutes early.
Correct.
To get to his friend, to then bring him to work.
Yeah.
Right?
That's correct.
Yeah, no. The guy's not the the friend in this case definitely is, especially when they're going out of their way to be like, of course I wouldn't get up early to make your life easier because you have to come and pick me up. What?
Yes. And all of Reddit agrees.
Yeah,
the poster is not the asshole. In fact, there's an update.
Oh, sweet.
So, the poster says, a couple weeks ago I posted asking if I'm an asshole for not picking up my coworker to work. I was torn because I've worked with him for 3 years without any issues, and it was the first disagreement we had. So thanks everyone who said I'm not the asshole and put my mind at ease. On to the update. After our uncomfortable conversation, I went to a training program in another state, so I didn't see him until the next Monday. I drove to work as usual, and he also came in, by Uber I found out later. We didn't speak until lunch, when to my surprise, he apologized to me. He said he was stressed about fixing his car. He had to replace the radiator and wait for the part, and having to spend more money on rides. He admitted that he had never taken the bus. He moved to the city 3 years ago for the job and never had to use public transportation, since he always had a car. So he was feeling anxious and took it out on me, I guess. He said I didn't deserve it, and I accepted his apology. So he still Ubers to work since he doesn't want to get up early. But I offered to send him to the bus station near my place after work, and he can take an Uber from there. It's easier to get a ride at the station instead of at our work. He graciously accepted and offered to chip in for gas. But I said it's fine, since we'll be going the same way. So he bought me lunch instead. I ended up sending him for 3 days. Then he got his car back. Some people might say I shouldn't offer to help him, but it wasn't a bother for me, and who knows if one day I might be in his position. Our working relationship is stronger now, and I'm glad we both moved forward in a better place. That's my update. Have a great day.
Hey, that's a fantastic update. Normally we don't get good ones, so yeah, that's great. I'm happy that he took the apology. I don't know who would. I don't like how they said that some people might say not to have helped him out. I like to believe that everyone would have been like, hey, he came to you and apologized. Seldom do you get that. Where someone goes, hey, I was in the wrong. And you're right, and he is right about saying he was stressed out about it. One, the car was in a state of disrepair. He was waiting for a part. And the next thing was he'd never done public transportation. And if you've never done public transportation in your life, I'm sure that can be very stressful to then all of a sudden go, I need to figure this out. Let me do this. It's more funny that even though he had already explained why he was afraid, he's like, I'm still going to not get up early. I'm going to do me. I'm still going to pay for the Uber. So I'm happy it all worked out, though.
Oh, yes. I'm also really happy. It is extremely rare for somebody to actually come up and say, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this, and I would like to go ahead and try and make things better.
Got him lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Great update.
So we went and we have one fixed work relationship. Let's see about a little bit of marriage, shall we?
Okay.
Our last story. Am I the spying on my husband? When my husband was young, he had siblings plus foster siblings as well. His mom had a rule that the person who served or divided the food was not allowed to be the first to pick their plate.
Oh, nice. I like that.
For example, if there was a cake and one person cut it into slices but made one massive slice with the intention of taking it themselves, they could no longer do it. I think it's a cute
situation.
I know. I think it's a cute and a good way to ensure fairness. After we married and had kids, he wanted to implement the rule, so we did. Whatever. I like the rule. Our kids are toddlers, so it's not really relevant yet, but we keep this rule for the two of us at dinner, etc. When I do it, I make sure to keep the portions as even as possible so neither of us gets more meat, better bits of steak, etc. Well, I've had a sneaking suspicion for a while now that he's been hiding more and or better meat in plate A while putting more cheese on top of plate B because he knows I die for cheese and will subconsciously gravitate to that one.
Nice. Okay.
Well, last night I decided to play him at his own game and told him I was calling a friend, but actually hid in the closet to watch him plate up. My suspicions were confirmed when I saw him drop considerably more of the juiciest, thickest steak into one plate, hide it with mashed potatoes and a sad sprinkling of cheese on top. When it was game time, I immediately dropped the plate with the sad amount of cheese, and his face just dropped. I asked him what was wrong, and he went red and said, I thought you liked the one with more cheese. I told him I wasn't in a cheesy kind of mood. Then I sat down and ate my meal with all the extra meaty chunks. He looked so disappointed as he watched me eat bite after bite of delicious steak that eventually I fessed up and he understood I was the ultimate mastermind. He acknowledges that he is in the wrong for being a dirty steak thief, but says that I am an equal spying on him. So we thought we'd let the good folks of Reddit decide. So let me have it. Am I the for spying on my husband?
This is a fantastic story. Thank you for picking this.
You're welcome. I got you snorting so good.
That's because that is an ultimate play. I think everyone... I think if you've ever plated anything with any group of people, you understand that when you go, okay, you get to pick. Normally it's whoever's hosting, right? You're like, hey, you cooked it. This is your place. You know, like normally those conversations happen and you try not. Well, I mean, for me, I like to look for the biggest plate. Yes, especially when it comes to meat. So I identify with this story so deeply. No, she's definitely not the. I think it's more funny that she was suspicious of what was happening. Now, yeah, she could have just went up to him and like, hey, look, I think I'm being ripped off. Right? But I think it's much more playful this way because it doesn't not nefarious. There's no like underlying like savagery happening here, right?
Oh no. Apparently he had a lot of siblings. But he was just living. He was living it up with all those juicy bits of meat.
I think this is harmless. I don't really see there being a problem with her looking to see catching him red-handed and what she believed was happening, right? Like that's hilarious. And then to eat it in front of him, like that's the best.
I enjoy how she played the game. She's like, "Is everything okay?"
I would be heartbroken. I would even give up the goat like you knew. Okay, give me back my steak.
So, since you already gave me your verdict, all of Reddit does agree she's not the. In fact, she gave a nice little update to this in her post. It's called Next Steps. Says, so I don't have time to respond to all the comments, young kids, etc., etc. But thank you so much to everyone who took the time to comment. My husband and I sat down to read them together, and we agreed that both of us definitely have a bit of ass about us. I admit that spying from the closet was a weird choice, so in the future I'm going to talk about my feelings like a grown-up. He admits that he was a massive ass by taking the best steak bits and assures me we will split the meat evenly in the future. He even suggested himself that we ditch the whole rule, so we're making progress. Tonight, we're actually going to try plating up together. I think it's going to be one of a romantic night. Thanks also to everyone that suggested he might be having an affair. I don't think he is, but honestly, who knows? If he has it in him to hide the juiciest meat, then do I even know this man at all? Who did I marry? Thank God our house was constructed with a surprisingly large amount of closets, so I think the best course of action is to utilize each and every one until I discover all of his dastardly doings.
This was a great post.
This I absolutely love. Thank you so much, No Common 7843. I'm happy I could share that last story with you.
Well, as our stories come to a close, remember, you see in the world what you carry in your heart.
If you have enjoyed listening to us read and talk about today's stories, please rate, subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content. We will be regularly posting on Tuesdays and Fridays.
And remember, if you post, maybe we'll see it on the internet.